What's up, guys? Swift from Swift Sports here. I'm down on the field at the Reese's Senior Bowl. What's up, guys? I was down in southern Alabama for most of the week, and today I wanted to give you the 5 players that impressed me the most and 5 players who I think did the least to improve their draft stock this week. Let's get right into it. At number 5, I wanted to put a wide receiver here, but there were so many wide receivers on hand that it was hard for me to pick just one. So I went with the defensive end here. I will probably spend a ton of time talking about the receivers from the Senior Bowl, but I have to go with UCLA edge rusher Laiatu Latu. He was absolutely dominant the first 2 days and really looked the part of a top 10 pick in the NFL draft. I did not see him on the field yesterday. I think he took the day off and probably won't play in the game. He was asked a ton of questions about his medical history, but the dude is a baller. He has elite athleticism, size, speed, power, hand usage, technique, and he just wants to get on the field and prove it. I love what I saw from him. I think Penn State's Adisa Isaac looked really good too, but to me he was the 3rd best pass rusher in Alabama. Who was the best pass rusher? We'll get to that soon, but at number 5, I had Laiatu Latu. Came down here to Mobile. Is there one thing you wanted to show scouts most about your game?
Really just that, I've proven that, I'm one of the greatest edge rushers coming out of the
Easily a
this
blue
class.
chip,
Yeah, and then, I appreciate that. And then really just showing that I'm stout in the run game. I'm not afraid of that. I'm not shying away from the run game at all. I mean, I had the most TFLs this season, and really just prove that I can also play the run too.
Power, explosiveness, and athleticism, man. You got the whole package. You're going to be a first-round pick.
Nice to
Thank you. And then moving on to number 4, we have another guy from the trenches, Oregon State's Tyrese Fuaga. This guy was a monster. He dominated the line of scrimmage, and other than getting a bit over-aggressive and ended up holding a couple of times, he was lights out all week. He was a guy who came down to Alabama looking to show he was one of the best tackles in the NFL draft, and he did just that. I think he is locked in as a first-round pick after this week's performance. He could probably play anywhere on the offensive line, and his combination of explosiveness, power, paired with his athleticism for his size, was rare to see on display. He was the best tackle of the week to me, hands down.
Hey man, you're a big fan, man. You dominated all season. I'm a guy who loves to watch tape. What do you have to prove coming down here to Mobile, Alabama?
I feel like what you're coming down here to prove is that you're one of the best tackles and a surefire first-round lock, blue chip.
So yeah, I came down here, just trying to prove that, I'm not just a run blocker. People like to say yeah, man, he's a great run blocker, but I just want to be able to prove that, I can also pass block too. And I think it kind of showed in the past 2 days, and just being able to do that just helps me and helps me mentally too. So.
And I from watching you out there, it looks like you love those pancakes, man. You love getting physical and dominating players like that.
Yeah, and it's like a big thing. You got to be able to finish the play. That's another thing. O-line, just be able to finish that play. Don't let your guy. Don't let him finish in the screen of the play. So,
man, I love it. I feel like you were locked to go in the first round, and nothing but good luck, my man.
Appreciate that.
Appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Now, I will say I will be further evaluating the offensive lineman and going back and giving the tape further look, but after a week looking at it and watching through practice film once, he clearly stood out to me. Moving on to number 3, we have another defensive player, cornerback Quinyon Mitchell from Toledo. This guy just had an incredible week. His highlight interception on a deep pass to Brendan Rice was one of the best plays I saw while down there in Alabama. He was consistently locking down a stacked group of receivers, and to me he just stood out. I believe other corners like Max Melton and Chris Abrams-Drain from Missouri also had huge weeks, but Mitchell edged them out as the top corner of the week. Watch out for this guy, he's a playmaker. The number 2 player on my list who really stood out this week was Missouri defensive lineman Darius Robinson. He is physically imposing. He was exploding off the line of scrimmage, and he dominated all week. Whether it was one-on-one drills or team drills, it was hard to miss this guy. He believes he can play inside or outside, and I agree with that. I think him and UCLA's Latu were easily the best 2 defensive linemen on the field, but unlike Latu, who was already a lock to go in the first round barring medical concerns, Darius Robinson looked the part. He looked just as good or better than Latu did, and his performance skyrocketed where he should go in the draft. I think he's locked in as a first-round prospect and looked like the best defensive player down in Mobile, Alabama.
Hey, man, you're one of the best edge rushers I've watched out here, man. I love what I see from you, man. You got that athleticism, the burst, the quick twitch, the power. Is there something specifically that you wanted to show scouts down here?
That I'm the best lineman in the draft, and people need to understand that. And but I still gotta get better. Still gotta work on my pass rush, pad level, all those little things. But just really show my versatility and why I'm the best.
Do you think you play inside or outside as well?
I can play every position. Yeah, that's what I'm telling all the NFL teams. Just draft me, give me the opportunity, and you put me anywhere, and I'm gonna succeed because I'm gonna work extremely hard.
That's what I see too, man. You got the length, the athleticism, and the power to do it. We'd love to have you in Chicago. Can I get a bear down for the fans?
Bear down.
Hey, man, appreciate it. Good luck in the NFL, man.
But here we are. The number one guy on my list happened to be the guy I was most anticipated watching before making the trip down south, and he did not disappoint. Oregon center Jackson Powers Johnson. He looked huge when I first saw him. He weighed in over 330 pounds, and to be honest, I was worried about his athleticism and agility when I first got there, but he surprised me majorly. He was explosive off the snap, his hand usage and technique was beyond his years, and his power and anchor was among the best on the field. He loves to pancake guys. And honestly, I almost didn't even want to talk about him. People were talking about him all week long. His buzz continues growing. When I first got down there, I walked into the building with one guy on my mind. The Bears have a huge need at center, and I wanted to find out who the best center was. I thought it was going to be JPJ, and he did not disappoint. I walked right down to the offensive lineman and spent my first 2 hours there watching everything he did. I also spoke to him 3 times while I was in Alabama and came away even more impressed with his intelligence, his swagger, his confidence, and his personality. This guy's going to end up being a first-round pick, and to me, a great player in the NFL. It's crazy because most of the year, scouts all along have said no center is worth going in the first round, but I believe Jackson Powers Johnson will change that narrative soon. He was so dominant this week, I think he was clearly the biggest winner of the Senior Bowl practices, and a guy who will be going up on teams' draft boards. Look out for Jackson Powers Johnson, the best center in the draft, who also happens to love to pancake guys.
Love to dominate them, sometimes even put them in the ground on pancakes. Is that something you take pride in doing?
Oh yeah, for sure. I think if you're an offensive lineman, the first thing that's like a receiver has a touchdown, running back has like a hurdle or a juke, lineman has a pancake. So that's the icing on the top for us, and I like cake. So.
I like it. And is there anything you wanted to show the scouts specifically down here in Mobile?
That I was the best center off the board, and I'm gonna love wherever I go, and I'm a person that they can definitely draft for sure.
Man, I appreciate it. We'd love to have you in Chicago. Can you say a bear down for us?
Yeah, bear down, baby.
I appreciate it, man.
Now you might be thinking, Swift, with so much talent at wide receiver down there, how is it that no wide receiver made the top 5 list? And to me, there was just so much talent, it's hard to single out just one guy that I think I'm probably going to break down the top 10 receivers that were at the Senior Bowl this week, and that video will be coming soon. But right now, let's talk about a couple of guys who didn't have the best weeks and were probably the 5 biggest fallers on draft boards this week. And I'm going to start right away with the guy who I think fell the most, Bo Nix. I was excited to see him. The quarterback from Oregon had a big year after having an up and down career as a 5-year starter in college. He spent his first 3 years at Auburn and then his last 2 at Oregon. He threw 113 total touchdowns compared to just 26 interceptions, and I really thought he would stand out this week, but he just did not. He struggled with his timing, his accuracy was all over the place, and honestly, I'm going to have to spend a lot of time rewatching his tape after this one. I don't know where to rank him. But the bottom line is he did not have an impressive Senior Bowl week. Maybe he can have a big-time game and make up for that. But next on my list would be Kalen King, cornerback from Penn State. He was a guy I expected to have a big week as well. He got burnt more times than I cared to count, and he just never really stood out to me. He He was one of the fastest time corners though on the week, per Zebra stats, but man, this was a rough week for him. Maybe he can bounce back with a great game tomorrow as well, but I was disappointed with what I saw. There was a wide receiver that also disappointed me as well. In such a talented group, Johnny Wilson did not look that great. He came in at 6'7" and has that ridiculous catch radius, but day one he struggled and he looked sluggish. And then they actually had him working with the tight ends on day 2 and 3. Not the whole time, but he was working a lot against safeties and linebackers. That is not good news for Johnny if you ask me. We'll have to see if he can bounce back at the combine or in the game, but I'll be moving him down my draft board a bit. And then I have to talk about Cedric Van Pran, who wasn't there. The center from Georgia was a last-minute scratch. I did not hear what happened to him or why he wasn't there, but the simple fact that he wasn't and JPJ was so dominant all week put to rest the question of who the best center in this class is. I already thought it was Oregon's Jackson Powers Johnson before we got down there, but he impressed me so much that I doubt Van Pran could have done much to sway the opinion the other way. So his stock is currently down after this week. Another guy is going to hope to get some momentum back during the combine. And then the final guy on my list was Michigan's Ladarius Henderson, a tackle prospect who played a bit of tackle and guard, but he didn't look overly impressive at either one. He got absolutely bullied more times than I would care to see, and he was a guy who I expected to see more from. He's not a bad player, but he did not have a great week. I also still need to rewatch a ton of tape from the Senior Bowl and have so much still to process, and we'll be going back further evaluating most of these guys. I have a bunch more interviews and a ton of content on the way. I also plan on possibly doing a live stream during the Senior Bowl tomorrow. Unless something comes up, you can catch the Senior Bowl live on NFL Network at 1 p.m. Eastern, noon Central. Do not miss that, guys. Also, stay tuned. I have a ton more videos on the way. Also, I will be addressing the Caleb Williams rumors that ran rampant through the week. Turn on those notifications so you guys don't miss out. Remember to hit the like button for me. And until next time, bear down.